name is Gian Galang, and I'm an artist and illustrator. I specialize in works related to martial arts, the UFC, action sports. I was born in LA. I lived in Hong Kong until I was 9 or 10. I've been into martial arts since I was a kid. I did karate, and I eventually found Muay Thai. Growing up in Hong Kong, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan were cultural icons, but I think what I was really inspired by is all the things that Bruce Lee had an influence on when I was a kid. Ninja Turtles was huge for me. Video games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, where it's fighters of all different styles from all different backgrounds. They come together to see who's the best, just like Enter the Dragon. That's all Bruce Lee. I went to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, and I double majored in illustration and graphic design. I found myself as an art director in the advertising industry for 7 years. I would work with photographers and directors on shoots. I would use my graphic design skills for layouts and print ads. I would even do illustrations. The thing that I really loved doing the most was drawing and painting. So I made a deal with my boss to kind of scale back the work I was doing so I could have some time to work on my personal projects. I was just naturally drawn to MMA. I like the challenge of capturing a likeness, but also each of these guys has their own cool special moves, their own style, their own swagger. So I would do fan art, posters of my favorite fighters, and luckily for me, the MMA community is really tight online. So when I posted a couple of my art pieces on my Tumblr, they pretty quickly got picked up on MMA Reddit, Twitter, and I landed an opportunity to do editorial artwork for Vice's fight publication, FIGHTLAND. FIGHTLAND was an amazing opportunity for me just because I was able to develop my style and work on different techniques that I end up still using today. I was commissioned to do the artwork for the Bruce Lee collection for Criterion, and this is the cover right here. After nailing down the figure and figuring out exactly where I want the stroke to be, I do a bunch of experiments with paints. I try to pick some of the tools that I think is gonna match the action and the motion of the artworks. I had a professor in college, George Pratt, who was really a master of mixed media and painting with unconventional tools. He really emphasized mark making, kind of instead of just painting with a brush. I've always been really inspired by him, so in my practice, I paint with rollers, palette knives, pen and ink, and mix it with acrylic and even go over the top with oil washes. I use like a lot of kind of unconventional things. It's usually more from Home Depot than like Blick. Working on Bruce Lee was especially enjoyable for me because it represents my art career come 360. I started out doing MMA artwork, and a lot of people consider Bruce Lee one of the godfathers of MMA. He really popularized not only Kung Fu and Chinese style fighting, but he does a lot of grappling, locks, sweeps. Doing research for the artwork, I watched a lot of the films, and I tried to nail which one was his iconic move. You know, what's his signature move? And it was really hard to pick, you know, because he really doesn't have one. You know, he has a flying sidekick, he has a back fist, he has all the different kinds of yells that he does. One of the art directors from the Criterion collection, Eric Skillman, hit me up with an awesome idea for the interior, which was to do sort of multiple exposure technique of Bruce Lee going through a series of moves, but each pose would be Bruce Lee in one of his iconic outfits from one of his movies. So maybe he'd be starting out the move in his traditional Kung Fu jacket, and then the second move, he's in his all yellow jumpsuit from Game of Death, and then maybe we finish with him shredded up like he was in Enter the Dragon. The reference I'm using are actually all shots of me that my wife took of me in the kitchen doing a bunch of Bruce Lee poses. Usually I figure out the poses, the composition that I like. We go and set up the lighting, and then I just do the moves. And then I try to find the Bruce Lee headshot that matches the body reference. So it's a little bit of Frankenstein cutting pasting. If you expect a certain level of realism, then designing your references is crucial.